Thank you very much for having me. I'm Nico from Abstract. And Abstract is an account abstraction platform building account abstraction tooling for developers and also for users. So that also resonates with the previous talk. And today we're going to dive into Abstract and Neutron as well, because this is also a workshop about kind of some things from Neutron. And we're going to dive inside an application, inside a Cosmos application that is built on Abstract. So the first part is going to be about talking about what is Abstract, what is Neutron, and how we build on top of those blockchains inside CosmWasm. And then in the second part, we're going to dive into the code a bit. So if you have a laptop, feel free to grab it. If not, then feel free to follow on the screen. And that's it. And if there are questions, you can ask them during the workshop. Please raise your hand and we'll see what we can do. So there is a repo here. You don't have to open it right away, but we're going to talk about the contents of this repo, which is a simple payment app for which you can tip your friends with, and you can tip in whatever currency, and it is swapped automatically to the currency that your friend chooses they want to receive the tip on. So that's for friends, but also for people creating conferences or other type of tips you want to do in your life. So first, let's talk about Abstract. Abstract is I'd say an account abstraction platform that provides tooling and simplifies the life of users, developers, on-chain and off-chain. So you see those three pillars that we have here. Today we're going to focus on two of those pillars, so focus on developers, off and on-chain. So what is account abstraction? Account abstraction is really, it's a big subject, it's a big topic. And at Abstract, we aim to solve simply the fact that wallets are not really interactive enough. You can't simply give power to an application to do things on your behalf that simply. You can do actions yourself, that's good. That's decentralized. You have everything, you have your rights, you have, you're not, so people can't do things on your behalf. But sometimes you want to automate things, sometimes you want applications that are smarter than just yourself. And so you need account abstraction, and that's what we provide at Abstract. And those smart contract wallets, those account abstracted wallets, usually have modules built on top of them, which are small parts of programs that enhances your wallet. As I said, if you want to automate something, you need to have an application that runs by itself on top of your wallet to be able to do things on your behalf and act the way you want them to act. And so at Abstract, we call them modules. Modules can be pieces of code which are put together to build a D-app, but modules can also be apps themselves. And today we're going to get into two modules. And those modules, the first module we're going to encounter is the DEX module. So the DEX module is simply an adapter, something that will bridge the link between the developer and the DEX. If you have DEX, you have DEXs all over. You have the Neutron DEX, for instance, that is, so as Lauren said, enshrined in Neutron. You have Astroport as well on Neutron. You have Osmosis. You have a lot of DEXs all over Cosmos. But as a developer, you don't want to develop applications for all of those DEXs. You don't want to rebuild and create all the bindings for all of those DEXs, because you will do that for every application that uses DEXs, and two, you're replicating what every other developer does, and this is really a waste of time. And so what we provide is simply an adapter, something you integrate with once, and with this integration you have all the DEX that come with it. So for now we have a lot of DEXs already. We'll talk about that later. But this is a simple entry point here for developers. So users don't care if you integrate with DEXs. This is for developers. And you provide a simple interface to interact with. And this interface we're going to get more into later in code. So you've read the slides. And so if you're an owner of an account, if you're a developer that is developing an app for people, you're just able to interact with this DEX adapter, which will simplify your life and also your mind, which will help you think about important things and not DEX integrations.
I have a question.
Sure.
Owner, it can be just a person who have a private key from the address, or can it be, for example, owner of email or owner of Telegram account or Twitter account?
This is a really good question. We've teamed up with Zion. I don't know if you've heard about the Zion chain. This is a blockchain that provides this kind of authentications through email, through JSON tokens, through Telegram, and we're developing new authentication methods so that the owner you see here is not just a wallet or just a person. It could be machine. It could be someone just logging in with Gmail, for instance. Less Web3, more Web2, but it's something that we need to focus on as well. So yes, this is what we're focusing on right now, abstracting the wallet and making sure you're able to just log in from anywhere and with the simplest thing as possible. All right, and if we get into the code a little bit, what this DEX provides is simply with an amount, with some assets, it will just create this kind of Cosmos message, typical CosmWasm code, without you knowing what it does, because you don't need to know. That was actually the name of one of the talks that our founders gave, but no one came because they didn't want to know. It was a weird title. They've moved on from that. Communication is hard. And so now, on top of this DEX module that you see on the right here, you can also add modules on top of it, modules that leverage this DEX adapter and that provide functionalities to the user, and that's where we come to this payment app I was talking earlier, and we'll see inside the code what this payment app does. But basically, it was the tipping app. It's a simple way to tip with whichever currency you want. Now let's talk about more module integrations. We have integrated with multiple dead or alive protocols because we've been around for some years. In the past we've integrated with the Croncat module. However, Croncat is now deceased. So, but that's nonetheless it exists, and you can use it to create cron application, just as Neutron provides a cron module. But what we do here is abstract on top of those modules to avoid recreating code. We have DEX, staking adapters, we have Tendermint staking as well adapters, we have a lot of IBC abstracted functionalities as well to allow for user and developer to avoid thinking about IBC as IBC, but more as blockchains talking to each other, apps talking to each other. It's not more difficult than just code being run. It's not more difficult than that, and it shouldn't be more difficult inside your head as well. And so those were adapters, integrations, and now we have also apps. That's what you see here. Apps are owned by users, by owners, which can be, as we said, anything. And we have here payment app with a typo, and other types of apps. These are financial apps here, ETF, DCA, or subscription, which is more related to service providing, an ICA app allowing easier IBC interactions. So yeah, this is what abstract is. So I'm going to stop just a little bit here if you have questions about this first part.
Payment APPE, it's just a mistake, or it's something different?
It is a typo, yes. Sorry. All right, let's move on. And I just wanted to talk about Neutron a little bit. We've talked about it earlier, but at Abstract we've built some products on top of Neutron, and Neutron also provides a lot of abstractions and features inside natively, which is what we're going to focus on today. Also, the Neutron DEX especially is what we're going to talk about during this little workshop that is going to start right now. Okay. So now, if you have a laptop and you want to take a look at some code from not on the screen but on your laptop, feel free to grab it and look at the payment app repo. I'm just going to give you 2 minutes if you want to do it. If you don't want, then just wait for the next slides. All right, it's late, so I'm guessing no one wants to code anymore. But let's look at some code on the screen. So this is how we define an app within Abstract. This is a bit complicated, but what you have here is how we see apps within Abstract. These apps are versioned. You have a version. If you are, if you've worked in computer development before, you know that libraries have versions. And within CosmWasm, we have a bit forgotten about that because version management, to be frank, within CosmWasm is really difficult because of migrations, because of addresses management, etc. So we provide a service to help you simply manage versions. And with versions, we also add dependencies. And those dependencies, as we've seen before, our payment app, which is able to swap what you receive to your native currency, needs to depend on the DEX adapter. So we add on-chain definitions of dependencies for applications within Abstract as well to just make the developer experience as close as what you're used to. And so if you see the difference here between those two screens, we just added this with dependencies here, with dependencies line, which just adds dependency between the two modules. This is as simple as that in code. Then, if you're familiar with CosmWasm, you know all those variables: depth mute, environment, message info, and message. These are the things that you need as a blockchain developer on CosmWasm to be able to code a contract. But we've added an additional object inside Abstract, which allows you to simplify the way you interact with apps, and this is where our DEX adapter comes in. So this app here, this app object, will allow you to access all the SDK, all the abstractions that we provide, and in this fashion here. Oop. So you just take your app object, and you take the DEX, so the DEX method on it, and you have here this DEX object which is able to swap, to get prices, to simulate swaps, etc. with a simple API. So maybe let's switch to code to see what it looks like, to see what it actually looks like. Yes, a question. Let me just give you...
So I guess, it's a fast question. I guess there is osmosis there, but if you change to another chain, that it's another DEX. So I guess it's as easy to get the DEX as changing the name, and that's it, right? Exactly. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. That's the power of this DEX adapter, is that here you see that this DEX here is a structure that does not depend on this osmosis string here, and if you change the string, it just changes the DEX you're interacting with, but it's not changing the way you interact with it. It's the same functions. So we're going to jump to the app. You see a screen. I'm just going to check out the solutions because, it's easier. All right. So on this, what you're seeing here is the payment app with the typical CosmWasm and Abstract structures. You have executions, you have queries, and you have instantiations. These are files, obviously. And if you go inside this app, you have, for instance, the tip function here, which is the main where everything happens inside the app. And this tip function allows receiving any type of asset and swapping with multi-routes possibilities, swapping to the asset you choose to receive. And if we go see where the DEX adapter is used, it's here. Oh, it's not updated, but You see the same thing you've seen on the screen with a bit more complexity. But you see here the DEX. So you have this module, which is this object we've added. And you just take this DEX with here the DEX that is encoded, which is some configuration. We've had osmosis before, but here it's a bit more complicated. And on this DEX object, you just swap your pay asset, what you received when you got tipped, and the desired asset, which was in the configuration. And that's all you need to provide. You can provide max spread and belief price, as we know it's important in crypto, to avoid sandwich attacks. But that's it. You only give those 4 arguments, and you're good to go. You don't have to change the messages or do anything complicated. It's just simple code. So that's one power of abstract that we provide to developers on this integration. So getting back to the slides a bit, the second thing we provide is the off-chain framework, which allows you to simplify your tests, your interactions, your maintenance, and whatever you want to do with your contracts. So these are the 2 points that I wanted to highlight during the workshop. But let's look at them in code. So you remember, this payment app is here to be able to tip people. So what you want to be able to call when you're a developer interacting with this app is, for instance, get the tip count. So the number of people who tipped you. And with Abstract, with Orchestrator, which is our off-chain tooling platform, it's not a platform, it's just a library, a Rust library. You can call the tip count just as easy as that without having to create this tip function. It's just derived from all your messages. It just helps you forget about creating structures. It's just calling functions on your contract. So you get your contract, you deploy it, you get it from the chain because you know the address, etc. And you can call those query functions as easy as that. So you have the tippers here, etc. And here you have the tip function, which is as well pre-generated, which shows the power of Rust macros, which are just simple. These are just generated to simplify your life. And here, for instance, you see this tip function. I'm gonna click through it to see where it comes from. And if you click on it, it just comes from the execute messages that were defined on the app. And so this is this function, which you should call if you want to tip me. And this function is written as payable, because obviously if you want to tip me, you want to give me some coins. And that's where so Orchestrator comes in and allows you to actually give some input, give some coins to the app. Voila. We also have simplifiers to allow you to deploy all your infrastructure. Let's imagine you have a big application, for example, Mars protocol or Mars. You're familiar with Mars protocol, or any other type of a big application or abstract, because we're also an application with some name service providers, with a registry provider for modules. We have a centralized entity where you're able to collect modules from. You can and anyone can publish those modules. And this is, we provide traits and helpers to simply deploy and load your application from files or from the chain directly. So if you look at this with one line, obviously it's just a function, but it's something that's common to all applications that are developed within Abstract. You're able to deploy your function on any chain. In here, this chain is not actually an actual blockchain. It's just a simulated environment, which is provided by CosmWasm, CW multi-test, which we abstract and we make into an object that is compatible with a daemon. So if you look at the code here, this code is actually on a false blockchain. It's running locally. But if I want to make it run on Neutron, for instance, I just have to change one variable, and that's it. It's just does the exact same thing, deploying the DEX adapter and then deploying my payment app, etc., on Neutron instead of locally. So if you're a developer, you don't want to switch languages too much. And with this tooling that we provide, you just stay within Rust. You don't talk other TypeScript or weird languages that you don't like. You want to stay within your CosmWasm, what you're used to. So that's pretty neat. And we provide as well interchain testing environments. So you're able to test your interchain application without having to deal with faucets, testnets, or whatever other things you don't want to mess with too much within your testing platform, which is fun. And let's maybe talk a bit. So this we just talked about. And finally, so this deploy on. Let's load this. If it works. Yes. So this deploy on function comes with, so when you want to deploy something, it means that there is nothing on the blockchain that is of interest to you and just want to deploy your application there. But sometimes, and when you're providing your library to users, you want to load from, you just want to, you have your blockchain, you want to load your application without having to redeploy it every time. And so this load from function is actually really powerful because what you can do is when you're publishing your crate, when you're publishing your code online, you can just make it available to everyone so that they can load the application from their development IDE without having to get the addresses somewhere on a random website by having a Google search for, what is the DEX pull for item and Neutron on Neutron. It's horrible to do that. All those pull IDs, all those name spaces that you have to query every time. We provide a simple interface for people to load the state from other developers, and so it's also easy to integrate with other applications, and this helps developers work with each other because this is what we want to do in the blockchain space and in development in general, just work with each other to achieve a better results. And so this is also standard tooling that we provide. And I think that's it. So that's it for me. We haven't done much coding, but that's okay. They have questions.
Yes. Hey, thanks for that. Do you have some kind of UI playground just to connect Kepler and use the product that I built with the abstract?
Yes. Yes, we do actually. This was the sort of third part, the front-end libraries part at the beginning. However, I'm not at all in charge of the front-end within Abstract, so I was not able to provide you with more details on that at the workshop. But what we also have is a simple way to take your application. It's so it's the same exact repo and push it to this front end easily. So we also have simplifying libraries, just as what I've showed in Rust in TypeScript. Even if I hate it, but you can use that within your browser and have a simple and set up a simple front end in no time. Yes.
You're here.
You was telling about deployment directly to the Neutron network, but can I make something like a multiply deployment and deploy it directly on the 6 or 7 different CosmWasm networks? Is it possible?
Yes. So what we do at Abstract is we abstract everything. So we abstract the chain as well. Let me show you the deploy script, for instance, for this payment app. This is not really something very fancy, but if you go here, this loops over all networks you give it, and it just deploys your app everywhere. So it's just, I mean, it is simple code, but what we provide is just a way to avoid having to download every CLI out there, and just keep it within your Rust environment.
Any more questions? All right, let's give another round of applause for Nico. So now we have some food in the back if you're hungry. Also some beers in the fridge. Feel free to network, chill, get something to eat or drink, and enjoy the evening. Thank you very much.